Hello, welcome back. This is Grillenheimer. I just want to make this super quick. Okay, I get these AT&T news things that pop up on my phone. I don't know when they started happening or even why, because I've never asked for this stuff, and all of a sudden I'm getting news from AT&T, and I'm like, what qualifies AT&T to be a news source? But anyway, and this I don't have it in front of me because, well, it's kind of on my phone as I'm recording. But it was about uh, climatologists have it right after that they predicted the future 10 years ago that we were going to have crazy weather patterns and blah, blah, blah. And it's here and it's happened. I'm thinking, okay, so what about the crazy locusts mess that we had in Africa just before the virus broke in 2020 or 2019? Really, I think the locusts that hit Africa were actually, I think that was actually summer fall of 2019, and then you had all those fires in Australia. Don't forget this stuff. Um, and I remember reading. I mean, it may not have been much, but there was a snake that was found at the Western Wall in Jerusalem, if that means anything. I thought I heard somebody come home, but last I knew they were still at school. Um, and then you had the people in the 70s claiming, oh, in 10 years we're going to have an ice age. Oh, ice, cold age. And then, about the 80s, they turned it around. And they were calling it, they keep changing their words. I've mentioned this before about control the language, control the people. That's what they're doing to us. We can't define the word woman. And if I need help with the definition, I go to a dictionary. Webster's really good. My grandfather used to go on about it. Webster taught him a whole lot. Well, maybe certain Supreme Court justices should look up a dictionary if they can't define a word on the spot. But anyway, um, the fine. And then in the 90s, we had, 80s, we've had scientists predict the end of the world, climate change, the sea levels are going to rise, and this is going to do this, and even President Obama was touting the same thing. Of course, despite he had or has a house on the beach in Miami, if I remember correctly, and all that. I mean, remember all that mess? That was just nuts. Um, it's just nuts. So, and then there's, oh goodness, Ted Danson, among other Hollywoodites, telling us that the world is going to end in 10 years, climate change, climate change. And I'm just like, okay, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the double knots, whatever you want to call them. And now this is 2022. I mean, we've had all sorts of bad hurricanes and bad storms. Ida, George's, which is hard to pronounce, which wiped out the piers at this place where that my parents used to keep their sailboat, and they don't have a sailboat anymore. But that's not why they don't have one. But that hurricane took out around Mobile and took out these piers, and the owners of the property were like, we didn't have insurance. We're not rebuilding. And then what about Katrina? Katrina was almost over 10 years ago, and remember what happened to Louisiana. I mean, yeah, we're having some bad floods and some intense storms come through in certain areas that may not have always seen this kind of intense storms, but it's going to happen. My area is known for some tornadic weather. We have been very blessed, very lucky that we don't have our house is still here, that we are still here, et cetera, et cetera. Because tornadoes have come through here pretty bad, pretty often, despite the terrain. So bad things happen, tragedy happens. There are people that want to get rich off of tragedy. And that's what I see a lot of the swamp does, has been doing for decades. I don't believe it. To me, these people sound like snake oil salesmen. Okay? If something doesn't smell right, something's probably not right. So, as my great grandfather once said, don't believe half of what you hear and nothing what you see. And we're living in a time where that really needs to be put to heart. So with that, that's all I have to say right now, is that I'm not saying climate change is a hoax. I'm saying that they are profiting off of this for all the wrong reasons. For all we know, it may not be our fault. It could be something geologically going on beneath us, underneath the earth, unbeknownst to us. For all we know. The poles could be shifting. There's all sorts of other scientifical issues that could be in working against us. That's not our fault. That we're just on this planet. We're here temporarily anyway. But no matter how long or how short of a life you may live, they're going to want to squeeze every penny from you and get bigger and powerful as a result. My wife and I were looking about getting a new car. We didn't want an EV. We didn't really think about it, but when we sort of took a gander, just a glance, we saw the price and we're like, no. And that was just the vehicle alone. It didn't include the 3 or 4 different levels of what you have to set up in your home just to be able to plug it in to even charge it, which is huge. That's on top of the price of the car. We're like, no, we can't do that. And after we just bought a new car this year, now they're talking about, what are they talking about? Been listening? About having no types of emissions from cars in 10 years or less, or in 8 years or whatever. These people are just out for money. I live in an area that used to be very bad. I'm trying not to say where I live, but the sky, around the time I was born, or just before I was born, the skies did not look blue. The skies are blue now. They made a big stink in the 80s about all this hairspray affecting the hole in our ozone layer. Now the ozone layer is fixed. Is it because we stopped doing the puff with the girls? I don't know. I don't think so. It just could be kind of seasonal. There's a lot of unknowns, and I'm not a scientist. I can't say everything I'm saying is fact, but it's interesting stuff to look into. I thought I heard something new here. Hoping I don't have a critter or roach or something. Anyway, that's all I have time for. But I'm sorry, but yeah, when I see this news article come through from AT&T News on my phone that I just got to look at and I swipe, forget it. We're getting all this crap through our phones because they want to control what we see. They want to control what we see. They want to control what we hear. We're hearing that a lot from all sorts of commentators, from all sorts of sides of the issue. And there's some people that are realizing, wow, these people are full of it. I'm going over there. These people seem to have a little more of their heads on straight compared to these people. I may be in the middle of the road, but it seems like these people know how to have a better, head on their shoulders, despite what people want to slander them back and forth. And a lot of those people are just being quiet and taking it for them and not saying much and not retaliating, but yet they're the ones that are supposedly more violent than what happened 2 years ago. None of this makes sense, people. Use your minds. We're smarter than this. Remember things that have happened in the past because it's important to know. We'll see you next time. Sorry to take up your time. 10 minutes, hopefully, isn't too bad. We'll catch you next time. More fun stuff along the way. Have a blessed day. We'll see you next time. And as always, peace be to God.